Hey there friendos, Newbornkilik here, and today I have something extra special for you. Today we're going to be going over the amazing, the wonderful, dark, even, of course on this channel, you know dark usually means amazing, Dark Hyrule Fantasy mod from HylianModding.com. Dark Hyrule Fantasy is a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time mod that takes a dark, gothic, even almost horror-esque. Think of the old style books like maybe Dracula and that kind of stuff, a very gothic style approach to The Legend of Zelda. In the demo we have one full complete dungeon, two sort of little side areas where you can find little bits and pieces. We'll talk about the main dungeon first and then transition into those two side areas, one of which, to be honest, was terrifying to me, and stick around, you'll find out why. But oh boy. The atmosphere on that one was incredible. First things first, you're gonna notice the aesthetics in this game are amazing. This game looks so good. The color palette, it's all dark and very kind of saturated, which really gives a sense of life in certain areas, and then you walk to, say, the woods, and it kind of almost seems less lifeful, like a very dark, dim place. It's very, very nice is what I'm saying. They're incredible. They look great. The textures themselves, the models, everything looks quite amazing. And it comes with this kind of color palette that really lets everything kind of pop, but in a dark and dreary kind of way. In some rooms there are even these kind of hazy looking filters. Kind of seems like death is just hanging in the air. I mean, you do also find some re-dead in the area, so I think that's a pretty good indication that some stuff has gone down in this area. Goddamn, Link, you never looked so awesome. Also, you look like Dante from Devil May Cry, which is a good thing. I'm not complaining, okay? Our adventure starts off in Villa Muerti. I'm probably saying that incorrectly, but Villa Muerti, with a neat little cutscene showing you kind of just everything's dead in the area, and these nice little lamps that I think actually add a lot to the aesthetic. These lamps really just do it for me. I love them. I think I would like one. It would be so thin it'd probably break. But hey, them's N64 textures for you, am I right? Exploring around the town, we can find an almost post-apocalyptic style area. Now, there's a statue in the middle of town, which is hinted at to resemble the Hero of Time, essentially, which has been torn down and destroyed. So this broken statue really seems to kind of add to this dark and dreary atmosphere that the game is going for. The NPCs are really relatively few and far between, and I think that really adds to the kind of hopelessness of this mod. We find that not everything is all hunky-dory, as it were, in the villa, as there was a mysterious disappearing, and they seem to have disappeared into the Nightshade Manor, just past the Candlelight Woods. Spooky! The Nightshade Manor, by the way, is the main quote-unquote dungeon of the demo that we have here so far. Leaving the villa, we'll go through the Candlelit Woods, a dark and treacherous area filled with horrific creatures that would like nothing more than to kill you. Oh, and Wolfos. Wolfos are there too, but they are not much different. But they fit the aesthetic. I like that. Oh my god, why that stick looks what is... Oh my god, that stick looks disgusting. What is that? Is that a dead hand's arm? I actually think they used a dead hand's arm for the Deku sticks and called it a blight stick. It's gross. I don't like it. Don't care for it. Wait a minute. If these are called blight sticks and they're a dead hand's arm and these are called blight nuts... After a short maze, we find our way to the Nightshade Manor and the bulk of the experience in the mod. Oh, right. That's what we're looking at. Okay, that's the kind of thing you don't want to see in a dark alley. You would have a heart attack, okay? Your heart would be like, oh, that's it. That's me. I'm done. See you later, boss. I'm heading out. Overall, the manor is, rightfully so, the main area in the entire mod. The puzzles here are, as you would expect, Zelda-style puzzles. They're not terribly difficult, but they will get you thinking just a little bit. I do think it's very interesting that the first item that you actually receive from one of the temples is what the game calls the vine shot. I call it the baby shot because it's the hook shot, not the long shot. If you played Ocarina of Time, you know how restrictive that is. Just having the vine shot and not the actual long shot really does kind of add to this sense of, hopelessness that you're able to portray with a game like this, in this dark, kind of dim area. You're not allowed to just zip all over the place wherever you want to go. You have to really put yourself kind of in harm's way to even use this in any sort of combat scenario. The Nightshade Manor is also where I have most of my problems with this mod. As it turns out, there was actually a plugin issue on my end. This water here is supposed to be transparent. However, with the plugin I was using, you're not able to see through the water, so this is not as vague or as hidden as I had initially thought. There's going to be a weird cut. We're just going to go to my actual one and only gripe with this entire mod. With that said, that also leads me into probably the worst part of this mod, and that has to be the boss of the Nightshade Manor. It's just the water temple boss. Of course, there are some differences, and really, what do you expect? It's a mod. It would take a lot of effort and a lot of work, which, they put into the rest of the mod. I'm not trying to discount this at all, by the way. This is an amazing mod still, but I do have these two gripes with it. Basically, it's just the water temple boss with very minor alterations and a weaker weapon to hit it with. Now that we've talked about the bulk of the experience, let's go on to probably my favorite area. Remember when I said that there were some separate areas from the Nightshade Manor to explore? Well, one of them is an abandoned manor just in the villa that you start out in, and honestly, this is where I went first, which was a goddamn mistake because wow, it spooked me a lot. The atmosphere in here is incredible. There's so many dark corners. You enter and the first thing you goddamn see is one of those bad boys. Not interested in it. I'm not looking forward to it, okay? I see that, I'm like, okay, 180, turn back around. It does the spook factor god dang well, and that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. It even has the classic trope that you'd never see in a Zelda game, by the way, of having a cleaver smashed into a board. And you just gotta sit there and wonder, like, wow, what is going on? Did the person that used to live here get eaten by the spiders? Were they eating the spiders? Or are the spiders using the cleaver? And we have a lot of problems. I feel like this area will probably play a much larger role in the final game, as there is a journal in here that kind of hints at the fact that the person that lives here is over hundreds and hundreds of years old. Maybe we just happened to be here while he wasn't here. Little victories. Remember, this is the first area that I went to, and I thought this was going to be the kind of horror aesthetic that we were looking for through the entire game. So naturally, I was pretty on edge right away, to be completely honest with you. This is a mod, a completely unknown experience by a relatively unknown person. They could put literally anything in here, and if you've seen the things they can do with Super Mario 64 modding, making custom things and custom animations and custom rigs and stuff like that, you could easily have a scenario where, say you're walking next to a tree, and all of a sudden, the tree just literally grabs you like a re-dead hand, and boom! There could have been a random jump scare anywhere in this game, okay? Had me spooked, I'm getting back in that zone just thinking about it. That's what I'm saying, okay? Finally, we find ourselves at the last optional area, and an area that you can only get to after you actually obtain the vine shot, hook shot over some rocks here blocking our path, and we can head on over to what I believe is supposed to be sort of an old castle. So I need to be completely honest with you. I seem to have found a pretty bad bug in this area, which cleared out all of the rocks, which I believe were meant to be the main portion of challenge in this area. So I wasn't really able to experience this area that actually looks quite incredible. And honestly, this whole look makes me very uncomfortable. I've always been leery of like organic looking things in video games because I just think that they translate very weird. So it, again, right on edge, right on edge. The last area was clearly the one with the least amount of polish. It almost seemed like maybe I wasn't really meant to be here. Mostly it seems like the creators were still working on this area and they just allowed us here because why not? I'm not going to complain about a little bit extra game time on this because again, my overview of all of this is that yes, it is a mod, but it's beautiful in how it's a mod. It is a mod with more care put into it than I've seen in a Zelda mod in a long time. Now granted, this is just a mod. I don't know how long they've been working on this, but if they bring this level of quality, this level of texture work, this level of care, this level of love into the final product, this will be a mod that could very well rival the original game. I know that that is a steep claim, but it's not out of the question. When I played this mod, I entered a world. I experienced a brand new world in an engine that I am very familiar with. It made me feel feelings of dread and almost fear in some cases because I didn't know what was going to happen. Now, I'm a Zelda guy, and I even referenced this in the gameplay that I did on the gameplay channel. You should go check it out. Shameless plug aside, I've faced 8 iron knuckles at once. What do you have to worry about past that? Spiders. That's what you gotta goddamn worry about. Anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It does help me out an awful lot, and I hope you did enjoy the video, and I do hope that you enjoy the mod as well. Please check it out on HellianModding.com. They actually just added a brand new Mario 64 Ocarina of Time kind of crossover here that I will be doing on the gameplay channel not too long from now, maybe the next week or so. Please go support the site. Honestly, this is a great thing for any Zelda fan, especially any old school Zelda fans. Anyway, I'm Newbornkilik, and I will see you in the next one.